Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Kopidana Balaba Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Kopidana Balaba Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Yasodanandana Brajadanarandana Jaya Brajadanarandana Yasodanandana Brajadanarandana Jaya Brajadanarandana Yasodanandana Brajadanarandana Jaya Brajadanarandana Yamunadiravarachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamunadiravarachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Kopidana Balaba Girivardhari Kopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari. Yasodanandana Brajadanarandana Jaya Brajadanarandana. Yasodanandana Brajadanarandana Jaya Brajadanarandana. Yasodanandana Brajadanarandana Jaya Brajadanarandana. Yamunadiravarachari Jaya Kunja Bihari. Yamunadiravarachari Jaya Kunja Bihari. Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Prabhakacharya Asadhara Satushi Shriman His Divine Grace Shalasi Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Raj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Harival Slava Zarani Bhakta Slava Shri Guru Shri Grangi Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasnaya Bhute Srimate Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Tanamane Namaste Saraswatam Deve Gauravani Bacharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskadyade Siddharane Om Agyana Timarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shiguro Shiyutha Parakamalam Shigurum Vaishnavam Cha Shirupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Vrijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakans Vitam Cha Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishubhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakapa Drubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patidanam Vavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranitinanda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya That's the construction. Sounds like a dentist. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 5, The Demigod's Appeal to the Lord, Text 29. Ya ekavarnam tamasa param tad alokam avyaktam anantaparam asamchaka ropa suparnam enam. Is this some other window opener or something? Upasate yogam ritena dira Yekavarnam tamasa param tat Alokam avyaktam ananta param Asamchakaro pasuparnamenam Upasate yoga retena dirha. Ladies. Ya Supreme Personality of Godhead, who Ekavarnam, absolute, situated in pure goodness. Tamasa, to the darkness of the material world. Param, transcendental. Tat, that. Alokam, who cannot be seen. Avyaktam, not manifested. Anantaparam, unlimited. Beyond the measurement of material time and space. Asam Chakara, situated, Upasaparnam, on the back of Garuda, Enam, him, Upasate, worship, Yoga Retena, by the vehicle of mystic yoga, Dhiraha, persons who are sober, undisturbed by material agitation. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in pure goodness, Shuddha Sattva, and therefore He is Ekavarna, the Omkara Pranava. Because the Lord is beyond the cosmic manifestation, which is considered to be darkness, He is not visible to material eyes. Nonetheless, He is not separated from us by time or space, but is present everywhere. Seated on His chariot Garuda, He is worshipped by means of mystic yoga power by those who have achieved freedom from agitation. Let us all offer respectful obeisances unto Him. Purport. Sattva Vishuddha Vasudeva Shabditam. The Bhagavatam 4:3-23. In this material world, the three modes of material nature, goodness, passion, ignorance, prevail. Among these three, goodness is the platform of knowledge, and passion brings about a mixture of knowledge and ignorance. The mode of ignorance is full of darkness. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is beyond darkness and passion. He is on the platform where goodness or knowledge is not disturbed by passion and ignorance. This is called Vasudev platform. It is on this platform of Vasudev that Vasudev, or Krishna, can appear. Thus Krishna appeared on this planet as the son of Vasudev. Because the Lord is situated beyond the three modes of material nature, He is unseen by those who are dominated by these three modes. One must therefore become dhira, or undisturbed by the modes of material nature. The process of yoga may be practiced by one who is free from the agitation of these modes. Therefore, yoga is defined in this way: Yoga Indriya Samyamya. As previously explained, we are disturbed by the indriyas, or senses. Moreover, we are agitated by the three modes of material nature, which are imposed upon us by the external energy. Conditioned life, the living entity moves turbulently in the whirlpool of birth and death, but when one is situated on the transcendental platform of Vishuddha Sattva, pure goodness, he can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead who sits on the back of Garuda. Lord Brahma offers his respectful obeisances unto that Supreme Lord. Yekavarnam tamasa param tat, alokam avyaktam ananta param, asamchakaro pa suparnam enam, upasate yoga retena dhiraha. Supreme Personality of God is situated in pure goodness, Shuddha Sattva. And therefore He is Ekavarna, the Omkara Pranava. Because the Lord is beyond the cosmic manifestation, which is considered to be darkness. He is not visible to material eyes. He is not separated from us by time or space, but is present everywhere, seated on His chariot Garuda. He is worshipped by means of mystic yoga power by those who have achieved freedom from agitation. Let us all offer respectful obeisances unto Him. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutaya Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paskyatyade. Naham prakasha sarvasha yogamaya samavrita mudo yam nabijananti loko yam ajam aviyam. I'm never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by my creative potency yogamaya. And so the deluded world knows me not, whom unborn and inexhaustible. No, you can't do that. That's more like a bee. It's more like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Imagine having to work a job like that. All day long, that's what you're listening to. Here it mentions that one should not be agitated in the material energy. Generally, the material energy agitates us in two ways. The mode of ignorance causes us to lament, and the mode of passion causes us to hanker. And if one is not hankering or lamenting, then one is able to see things properly. Just like if you have a jewel in the bottom of a pond, when the water is agitated, it's not possible to see the jewel. So the whirlpool and the agitation in the material world are those two modes. The mode of ignorance and the mode of passion, they agitate our minds and they agitate our senses, and therefore we become unaware of who we actually are. Therefore, in the beginning, there's rules and regulations to follow. Either we follow the senses, their dictation, or we follow the rules and regulations coming from Krishna. And then, if one is able to follow the rules and regulations, one is able to hear better Krishna's message. And then one can actually understand basic principles of knowledge, namely that we're not this body, and Krishna is God. As long as one is serving the mind and the senses, then these things become rather abstract, theoretical, because Krishna is not realized in the modes of ignorance and passion. So if we act in the modes of ignorance and passion, then we won't experience Krishna. And very simply, there are varieties of manifestations of the mode of ignorance and passion, but the mode of ignorance is characterized principally by anger and frustration. Everyone who's lamenting, practically speaking, thinks that themselves are victim, and therefore they're frustrated and angry. And in the mode of passion, we think that we should be enjoying. And therefore, the desire to look around, or the distraction by looking around in the material world for objects of the senses, and then contemplating, imagining that one is enjoying them, is the mode of passion. The more one contemplates the objects, then the more one starts thinking that maybe I could enjoy it. Let's see what it would be like. Although it's punak punas charvita charvananam, material nature always deludes us into thinking this time it's going to be different. Therefore, to be in the mode of passion, you have to be somewhat crazy. Because that's the definition of madness. To do the same thing over and over again and always get the same result, and then think the next time I'm going to do it, I'm going to get a different result. So that's called madness. So the mode of passion brings one to the ignorance, madness. Krishna says, Sattvanurupa sarvasha shadabhaviti bharata sharo ma yo yo purusham yo yatstrata sevasa. At sattva sanjayate. That's not right either. Sattva sanjayate kama. No. Sattvam sanjayate jnanam rajaso lobha evacha pramado moha tamaso bhavato jnana evacha. From the mode of goodness, knowledge, real knowledge develops. Awareness of ourselves, awareness of how the material nature is actually working, awareness of how Krishna is controlling everything. That comes in the mode of goodness. When we give up hankering to become Krishna and lamenting over the fact that we're not able to do it. And if we don't do that, sattvam samjayate jnana rajaso lobha evacha. If we don't do that, then we'll become greedy. Greedy for sense gratification. It's called lobha. And when we can't satisfy our greed, when our senses aren't satisfied, then we have three flavors. Sattvam sanjayate jnana rajaso lobha evacha pramado. Pramado means we become crazy. Like ghosts. They want to gratify their senses, but they don't have a body to do it. So they have unlimited desires, but no way of fulfilling them. So they become completely mad. Pramada, moha, an illusion. The very fact that we identify ourselves with these gross and subtle bodies, that's called moha. We're an illusion. We're in dreaming. Pramada, moha, bhavato, jnanam evacha. And our actual knowledge of who we are and what's actually taking place around us is covered by those modes. Karmana sukritasyahu satvikam amalam. Karmana sukritasyahu satvikam nirmalam palam. So the result of working in the mode of goodness is that one gets knowledge. So goodness, we can work very easily in goodness. Simply we try to learn how to hear. We don't become hear about Krishna. That automatically then we'll be working in the mode of goodness. If we're not distracted, even by weird sounds. And karmana sukritasyahu satikam nirmalam palam. Rajasastupalam dukam. But if we act in passion, hoping to enjoy, we may enjoy temporarily, but the result will be a lot of suffering. Srila Prabhupada is walking in San Francisco, where the boardwalk is, and one man came up to him and offered him a fish he just caught. And Prabhupada said, no, you take it. You enjoy. And Prabhupada was with his sannyas disciples, and he walked further down the pier, and he said to his disciples, and suffer. So everyone, their means of enjoying the material world, if it's not regulated by Krishna, ultimately is the source of suffering. It's not possible to get happiness in the material world and not get suffering along with it. Either suffering is immediately or it comes later. Even we get something we love, but then it disappears because we disappear or it disappears. So it's very painful. The more you're attached to something, then it's more you become distressed when it disappears. Or the more we're enjoying in the material world, then the more we become disappointed when we have to leave it. Srila Prabhupada was walking in Switzerland on a morning walk, and he came across a house, and the house was perfectly constructed, the roof was immaculate, perfect, just painted. Every leaf on the tree in the courtyard was exactly where it was supposed to be. The land outside was just manicured with all the nice flowers in the garden. The birds, only birds that chirped in tune were allowed in the garden. Everything was like perfect. So Prabhupada said, this is a very unfortunate person. Everyone else is envying the person. I wish I had such a house. But anyone who had such a house, they become completely absorbed in the house. Obviously, to arrange every leaf on a tree takes a long time. You have to be dedicated to the tree, to your house. So Prabhupada said this person's very unfortunate because in their next lifetime, if they're not pious, then they'll have to take birth in a lower species in their house. Today I'm the master of the house, and tomorrow I'm a mouse in the house. But my destination is surely the house, because so much care and attention, surely the person will think about his house at the time of death and have to come back some way or another into the house. What's that? Snail, yeah, do some work. Construction. Mouse is not very productive, but snail adds to the environment. Oh yeah, he has a house. Sure. House within a house. Therefore, our process is by knowledge, we're supposed to become undisturbed by what's going on. And part of that is to be convinced that Krishna is the controller of everything, and that nothing is going on accidentally, and that we don't have to make all the corrections we think would make everything perfect, the way we think it would be. We can have some vision of what we think can be improved and how could be best improved, but part of that is not to improve things by acting in passion or ignorance. One cannot bring someone to the platform of transcendence by teaching them how to act in ignorance and passion. At least in the mode of goodness, one can get some idea what the correct way of acting, correct way of thinking, correct way of speaking is. Then one can do those activities in Krishna service. So before we change everything, or anything, then first we should consider what Krishna wants us to do from Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, and then do it to please Him. Do it in a way that's pleasing to Him. How do we know it's pleasing to Him? Because He tells us what's pleasing to Him. Anuvega, for instance, Deva Dvija Guru Pragya Pujanam Socham Arjavam Brahmacharyam Ahimsam Cha Sharira Tapa Uchite. That austerity of the body is to offer respects to the Devas and the Supreme Deva Vishnu, Dvija, and to the twice born, the Brahmins, Guru, to the teachers, Pragya, to learned persons, Pujanam Socham Arjanam, and Socham Arjavam, to be clean and simple. Brahmacharya, celibacy. So these are austerities of the body. So that's pleasing to Krishna. If we're doing our activities and we're offering respects to others, Trinadapi Sunichena Taravi Suhishnuna, Amadina Amadinena Kirtini Aksadahari. But that's not all. it's not only external, anuvega karam vakyam sattva priya hitam chayat, swadhyaya abhyasanam chaiva vangmana tapa uchite. Austerity of speech is to say things which are truthful, which are pleasing, which are beneficial, which follow the scriptural injunctions and don't agitate people's minds. So those are many qualities, and we should listen to what we're saying and how, not only what we're saying, but how we're saying it. If we have one quality such as truthfulness, we tell people exactly what we think. And we think, I'm just being truthful, Prabhu. Honest, I'm a Brahmin. I'm supposed to blast you into the ground. Torch you. No, you have to add something else to that truthfulness. It should also be according to the scripture. So that's good. If I'm going to be truthful, it should be something that the scriptures say. But it should also be beneficial. Not that I've been saving this up, and now I'm completely angry and frustrated, and now I can take it out on you. So now I'm telling you exactly what the scripture says, that you're like a hog, you're like a dog, you're a camel and an ass, but you're a little one. Little hog, dog, camel, and ass. I'm just being truthful, bro. And I'm quoting from scripture. And if you don't accept it, then you're the lowest of mankind. You're envious. And you'll be pushed down into the lowest species of life, birth after birth. It's all scriptural, bro. 16th chapter Bhagavad-Gita. No, it should also be beneficial. Most people will not be benefited by telling them how they're going to hell. Most people are already in hell. They don't have to be told how they're going to hell. They've already arrived long ago. They want to find out how to get out of hell. Therefore, it should be beneficial and it should be pleasing. No one is looking for someone to come along and tell them how ugly they are. I was always wondering how ugly I was. Now you've explained it. I really appreciate that. No, everyone wants to feel good. They want to hear something that's pleasing. Of course, when a surgeon's cutting out something, a disease from the body, then it may not be so pleasing immediately, but in the long run it's pleasing and beneficial. And it shouldn't agitate people's minds. If people's minds are agitated, they won't hear anything that one is saying. If we first of all tell people you're a hog or a dog or a camel or an ass, and then we agitate their minds and get them angry at us, why will they listen to anything else we're saying? Therefore, anuvega karam vakyam sattva priya hitam chayat swadhyaya abhyasanam chaiva vangmana tap uchite. So these are some of the austerities of speech that Krishna mentions. And if we want to do something outside of the modes of ignorance and passion, that's how we have to work. We can't think, I'm a sadhu, I just cut. I just say things that I couldn't care less whether it agitates your mind. My idea is to tell the truth because I'm a great soul. And if you don't like it, if you're going to go to hell because they're cursing me, well, so be it. I'll give you a one-way ticket. No, we have to judge if we're actually properly acting as an instrument for Krishna by how the qualities that Krishna is explaining. Of course, when we don't know the qualities, we think, well, I'm doing it for Krishna, whatever it is. Before I did it, I thought about Krishna. I said, Krishna, I'm going to offer you something. Please accept it. and you go out and you criticize and blaspheme and blast people. It's all for your service, Krishna. Just like Tejas Prabhu was in Delhi. He was the president of Delhi. Not very many devotees in Delhi because it was very austere, and there was some, Tejas was a little heavy sometimes. So the devotees used to complain to Prabhupada when Prabhupada would come to Delhi. This is in the early 70s. And Prabhupada talked to Tejas and said, Tejas, the devotees are complaining that they're not getting enough to eat, you're not taking care of them, etc., etc. So Tejas said, well, I'm doing that to serve you, Prabhupada. Just to save money. You told me to save money, so I'm doing it in your service. So Prabhupada, it's not my service to disturb the devotees. That's not my service. So we can't claim I call it out in your name, and then I do anything I want to do in your name. We have to find out what Krishna wants us to do. So it's up to us to know what Krishna wants us to do. Not that I can't remember anything, or in the Bhagavad-Gita, I couldn't care less what it says in there. Therefore, I live my life free. Of course, I'm a pure person, so whatever I do is pure. Whatever I say is pure. Whatever I think is pure. It doesn't really matter what Krishna says because I'm pure already. I don't need all this philosophy. Like Manat Prasada Samya Tvam Monam Atma Vinigraha Bhava Samshidir Ityetad Tapo Manasam Uchate. Manat Prasada. Does anyone know what that means? What's that? Yeah, satisfaction of the mind. Somyatvam. What does that mean? Equanimity, that's right. Manak prasada samyatvam monam. Yeah, gravity. Silence or gravity. We shouldn't say things just because we have to have the tongue moving. Exercise my tongue. So when it gets really strong, I can eat more prasadam. Then my tongue has to constantly wave. No, it should be grave. We should say things appropriately. Monam atma vinigraha. Atma vinigraha. Atma vinigraha. What's that? No, vinigraha, control the senses, control the self. Let me check that, make sure I'm at 17th chapter. Control the self, control one's nature. Bhava samshudir. Bhava samshudir. Purification one's existence. Some shuddhi, cleanliness, some complete bhava existence. So we have to know these things. As I mentioned before, the GBC, some of the members of the GBC were making elaborate plans how to organize the finances in our society corporately, make a corporate structure. That way the devotees wouldn't, all the foolish devotees with no intelligence wouldn't mess up the society. So probably when you heard about that, these elaborate plans by some members of the GBC to centralize all the finances and all the management of the society, he dismissed the GBC. Because he said this movement is meant for training people to be independently thoughtful and responsible. So in order to do that, you have to make mistakes. Not that one person gets trained up, who's the most expert, and everyone else remains a fool. A dodo, they say in America. Excuse me, dodo number one. No, the whole idea is that people may make mistakes, but they'll learn. Hopefully they'll learn from the mistakes. So Srila Prabhupada said, I see all your meetings are making all these elaborate plans, but I've been noticing that devotees, they don't even wash their hands before they eat. What to speak of afterwards? He said that should be discussed. How to bring people, devotees, to the mode of goodness. How to get them trained, how to train them so they become responsible, independently thoughtful to depend upon Krishna. Not that they hear someone says, do this, yes sir, do that, gopher. They become a gopher. You know what a gopher is? It's an animal also. It's also go for this, go for that, yes sir, yes boss. Don't hit me boss, yes. No, they become independently thoughtful, dependent upon, hear from Krishna what Krishna wants them to do. Remember Krishna giving them remembrance from Bhagavad-Gita. That I should be pleasing in my thought, in my speech, I should be beneficial, I should quote from the scriptures, it should be backed up by authority, I shouldn't agitate people's minds, and it should be truthful. So remember that. That's from the super soul. Independently thoughtful to rely upon Krishna. Not that I have no brain, and I always, whatever I do, I got to ask someone else, what should I do? Because I've been trained up to be a dodo. I never question the authority. I assume they're Mahabhagavat, no matter what they do. Even when I see them drinking vodka, I just assume it's been offered. Therefore, if we actually develop some intelligence in Krishna consciousness and apply it, then we'll become aloof from these modes of material nature. We won't be so much easily deluded by them, because we'll have some intelligence, spiritual intelligence. Then the perfection is prakasham cha nivrittim cha moham eva cha pandava nidveshi sampratitani nivritani kangshiti udasinad varasinam gunayo navichalyate gunavardanta ityetam yovatishtite nengate Samalostrasvakankshana Tulya Priya Priyo Dhiras Tiryanandatma Samstuti Mamapamaniyo Dhiras Tulyanandatma Samstuti Manapanavyo Dhiras Gunati Taksa Uchate. So one who's not disturbed when there's illumination, or prakasham cha nivrittim cha, or is disturbed when there is loss. Actually, it's not loss, that's not correct. 15th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, 14th chapter, very end of 14th chapter. O son of Pandu, one who does not hate, and actually, manapamaniyo tulyas tulya nenda tulya midrarya pakshayo savaramba prityagi gunati taksu uchate. Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present, or long for them when they disappear. So when these thoughts come to our mind, the modes of material nature, we shouldn't get disturbed. How can such a pure soul like me think of anything but something pure? Surely I'm being a victim of Maya, or Krishna doesn't like me today. No, when these things come to our mind, we should just remain undisturbed. And when we're not thinking about some sense gratification, then we shouldn't think, well, I've been so peaceful today, I need a little agitation. Where can I go on the internet to really agitate my mind? Get a little excitement in my life. So one who's, O son of Pandu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, delusion when they are present, or long for them when they disappear. So sometimes the mode of goodness may appear and disappear, the mode of passion, or even ignorance. I was so tired, I was looking forward to a nice snooze, and suddenly I don't feel tired anymore. But I'm going to go to sleep anyhow, because I was really looking forward to it. Unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions in the modes of material qualities, maintaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, was situated in the self. In other words, one has to try to become Krishna conscious. It's not enough to fend off ignorance, fend off passion, or even goodness. One has to be in Krishna consciousness, and then one won't be disturbed by these things. Situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, was equal towards the desirable and undesirable, steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats both friend and enemy, and has renounced all material activities, such a person is said to be have transcended the modes of nature. Undisturbed, so that's the main thing. So we have a lot of opportunities to practice being undisturbed. We just have to understand that these are opportunities. That whether we're in a good position or in an unfavorable, so-called unfavorable position, if we remember Krishna, if we go on with our service in such a way as to remember Krishna, then we'll actually make progress in spiritual life. And if we're always being batted back and forth between happiness and distress, and it's not really changing the way we see things, the way we do things, the way we think about things, then the result is we may go on for a long, long time and not really make any real substantial progress. Therefore Krishna says, Mam chayo vyabhicharena bhakti-yogena sevate sagunan samititaitam brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who is engaged in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once it transcends the modes of material nature, this comes to the level of Brahman. So we're not simply trying to get free from the modes of nature, we're trying to become steady in devotional service. And it's just that the modes of material nature distract us from our service, and therefore we're trying to become aloof from them by filling in the space and the gaps by doing more service, especially by chanting Hare Krishna, because that makes it devotional service. Then the modes of material nature will transcend the modes of material nature, rather than trying to fight against them. Oh, here's some passion coming. Go ahead, passion, try it. I'll knock you out. Here comes goodness. Oh, goodness, Not so bad. I mean, a little goodness couldn't hurt anyone. A little peace and quiet. No, peace and quiet is good. Even a little passion is all right if you're Arjuna on the battlefield Kurukshetra. But it should be done for Krishna, that's all. Krishna should be added to the whole thing. Then they'll be successful. So thank you, Huala. Any questions?
Hare Krishna, you mentioned that if we are told the truth but is not done in a pleasant way, it will only agitate our mind and we will not listen to that person further.
Maybe it depends how advanced you are. Sometimes people who are devotees who are more advanced, when they hear the truth, even their mind may have a tendency to become agitated. Still, they take the truth as more important than their agitated mind.
My question is, what should our reaction be when we are told lies?
When you're told lies?
Yes.
Well, don't believe them if they're lies. What else are you supposed to do?
Our reaction.
You're not supposed to react.
Should we tell that person or should we not?
Depends. There's so many possibilities. But we should do what Krishna wants us to do. So we should be thoughtful. What would Krishna, what would our acharyas, what would our spiritual master want us to do under these circumstances? and then do that. Not this impulse rising in my mind, in my senses, I should serve it. The anger is arising, I should serve it very nicely. Because I have a great opportunity. Dear Prabhu, you're a liar and a cheater, and that's the best quality I can think about you. Just want to be truthful, that's all. No, that's serving anger, usually. Unless you're happen to be in a position where where you have that service to do that. But if you don't have the service to do it, or then we should find out what service do we have under those circumstances to help the person advance in Krishna consciousness, or to help others advance in Krishna consciousness, and help ourselves too. So we can't remember Krishna because the anger, frustration, and all other emotions are just welling within us. We can't remember Krishna or what he wants us to do. Then we shouldn't do anything. We should walk away and count 108 beads on our bead bag. Anything else?
So, Rai Prabhu. Narada has great admiration for Krishna's flute, and so he calls it by the affectionate diminutive name Vamshika, little bamboo flute. At the same time, however, he cannot help but feel jealous of the flute's intimate relationship with Krishna. Now the question, jealous envy does not seem something spiritual.
Yes, because we're not very spiritual. Therefore we can't understand spiritual envy and jealousy and things. So when we get to come to that platform, we'll be able to understand.
And there's one more. Do the needy person who eats fish and the one who can make a choice what to eat get the same karma? So do the needy person who eats fish and the one who can make a choice.
The needy person who's eating fish or is getting his karma. Otherwise, why would he be so needy? He has to eat fish.
Already.
And the person who has a choice, if he eats fish, in the next lifetime he'll become a needy person who has to eat fish. Okay. Pala, Grantaraya Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Mantras were all through music. Samved is full of music. Jang Brahma Varunanda Rudram Marudasthananti Dibbhai Savai Vedai Sanga Padakrama Upanishadai Gayanti Jang Samaga. Samaga means the followers of Samved, Gayanti, they're always in music, true musical vibration, they are approaching the Supreme. Samaga, Gayanti means singing. So Vedic mantras are sung. This whole Bhagavad-Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam can be sung very nicely. And it is Vedic mantra chanting, simply by hearing the vibration, people will be benefited. Even they do not understand. This mantra I chant. Nate vidu shartagatim hi Vishnu durasayaji bahirarthamanina andhajathandhai rupani yamana stepi satantra rudamni badhya matim na krishne